In a time where the most valuable currency seems to be anger, it feels like an act of defiance to commune and celebrate all the good that is alive in the world. And the many here tonight who either challenge the systems and/or who show us that magic exists in Earth in their gifts, talents, bravery, art, and life. So tonight I applaud each of you.
Blake Lively got exactly what she wanted when she filed another court document. In this filing, she demanded huge sums of money in the form of punitive and double damages from Justin Baldoni. This was not the first time either. It was actually the third attempt where she asked for money or tried to stop people connected with Wayfair from speaking out by using court sanctions. Her team has now submitted 6 separate motions, including ones from her husband and her representative Leslie Sloan, all of them aimed at pulling millions out of Wayfair. The newest motion looked less like a serious legal step and more like a publicity move. The filing itself stretched across 30 pages, full of recycled arguments the judge had already dismissed before. On top of that, she introduced a mystery witness, someone unnamed, who claimed to have had bad experiences with Justin Baldoni. The purpose was clear: to portray him as someone impossible to work with, a man often excluded from sets and marketing projects. The problem is that no one even knows who this person is. The testimony they provided was redacted, meaning parts of it were blacked out. It doesn't make sense for a sworn statement, under penalty of perjury, to be hidden like that. What makes it even shakier is that this anonymous declaration was tied to a supposed conversation involving Steve Sarowitz. But the information passed through several people before it landed in Blake's court filings. That kind of hearsay isn't strong evidence, yet it was used to suggest that Wayfair was plotting against her. According to her lawyers, Sarowitz allegedly said at a film premiere that he would spend $100 million to destroy her and her family. Later, he was said to have compared his determination to defending a country at war. The dramatic language sounded threatening, but when examined closely, it came down to him saying he would put money toward protecting the studio. He never promised physical harm. His words were more about cutting people off professionally, dead to me, rather than causing actual violence. Even the judge pointed this out earlier. A private conversation where someone says they are ready to defend themselves isn't the same as an act of conspiracy. It doesn't prove a plan. It doesn't show that any real step was taken beyond talk. Still, Blake's legal team is trying to spin those statements into proof of retaliation. They now claim that Wayfair's choice to file countersuits was itself an act of revenge against her. But lawsuits are part of the system. Defending yourself in court isn't retaliation. At the heart of this, it looks like she is pushing a narrative rather than presenting new facts. Filing repeated motions, attaching anonymous witnesses, and seeking headlines every time makes the case seem weaker, not stronger. The focus has shifted from genuine claims to public perception, with publicity pulling more weight than the actual evidence on paper. Steve Sarowitz's assistant reached out to arrange a call between me and Mr. Sarowitz, who is the co-founder and chairman of Wayfair. No explanation was given for why the meeting was needed or what would be discussed. Parts of the related paperwork are blacked out, with entire sentences removed. The document is submitted with the declaration, marked as an exhibit, and signed under penalty of perjury. Yet, when you look closely, it contains almost nothing useful. It repeats vague claims of negative encounters and mentions verbal abuse, but provides no examples of what was said, who was involved, or what project it even related to. In reality, it connects to nothing in Rule 47.1. That makes the intent clear. The declaration was created for publicity rather than substance. After it was filed, the story was leaked to TMZ. They published an exclusive, announcing that a new witness had accused Justin Baldoni of verbal abuse. This was the headline Blake Lively's team wanted: another accusation, another splashy story. It mirrors earlier coverage when Isabella Ferrer accused him of harassment connected to a subpoena. But again, the details here are non-existent. The name of the witness is hidden, the project isn't revealed, and the testimony is blacked out. All that remains is speculation. The problem is that this type of evidence doesn't hold up in court. The judge had already said that only workplace issues directly tied to harassment could be considered in this case. Complaints about negative interactions, or someone feeling that Baldoni was verbally harsh, are not the same as harassment. Even more, verbal abuse is subjective. What one person feels is abusive, another may see as strict negotiation or blunt criticism. No one can even say who supposedly experienced this treatment. All we know is that it wasn't Blake herself, because she wouldn't be signing a declaration against herself. Federal rules are also clear. Under Rule 404(b), you cannot bring up past bad acts just to show a person has bad character and therefore must have done something again. That is called propensity evidence, and courts usually exclude it because it confuses juries. Instead of focusing on the actual case, the trial turns into endless side arguments about other situations. That's why judges often forbid prosecutors from using unrelated past behavior, even if it makes someone look bad. The same principle applies here. Because the declaration is redacted, because it lacks detail, and because it is clearly trying to show Baldoni as a bad person, it almost certainly won't be allowed. It looks like a move designed only for headlines. TMZ ran with it, the public read it, and now people are left with the impression that Baldoni is abusive, even if the statement never makes it into evidence. Ironically, Blake's lawyers have accused Wayfair's attorney of trying to influence jurors, yet here they are using the press to sway opinion. At the end of the day, this doesn't help her case. If her claims were strong, she wouldn't need to add mystery witnesses or leak selective stories to the media. Wayfair has stayed quiet, letting her strategy play out in public. Every time another redacted declaration or sensational leak surfaces, it weakens her position in court. Judges don't award damages for press plays. This is theater, not evidence, and it will not bring her closer to winning. The effort being made here is extreme. They are going so far into discovery that they are pulling out private conversations between a father and daughter about something as harmless as a family dog. They are also digging into whether Melissa Nathan might hire someone as a lawyer, even though she is not a direct party to the lawsuit. None of this has anything to do with the central issue, but they are still reaching into the personal lives of people who are only loosely connected. This comes on top of the 5 other motions already filed, each one demanding large amounts of money. Added to that, they have once again cited James Booker's declaration, repeating the same material already used before. It is being pushed forward to suggest bad intentions, just like Leslie Sloan once tried to frame it. But if you really had a strong case, you would not need to stack the docket with publicity-driven filings. You would be able to rely purely on evidence. At this point, the problem is clear. Blake Lively's retaliation claims are not consistent. At first, she said she was being targeted by a hidden smear campaign. Then she shifted to claiming that more than 100 creators were secretly involved in harming her. Now she is saying the lawsuit itself is retaliation. That leap is a huge stretch. For retaliation to hold in court, it must be directly connected to her speaking out or taking a legally protected action. Right now, it is questionable whether her activity even qualifies as protected in the first place. And even if it did, Wayfair and Justin Baldoni have every right to defend themselves. Filing a lawsuit or counterclaim is part of the process, not an attack. Yet her team is going to enormous lengths to silence the other side, while at the same time she talks openly to the press and leaks information to TMZ. That imbalance makes her case look weak, not strong. The more she does this, the more it exposes the fragility of her position. Each leak and each questionable motion damages her credibility. It paints the picture of someone trying to win through media pressure instead of facts. That is why it is surprising she still has people standing behind her. To me, nothing presented so far shows that she has a solid case. I don't have any personal loyalty to Justin Baldoni. I am not his friend, and I don't know him personally. But when you look at how both sides are behaving, his team is not acting like they are desperate or losing. They are staying relatively quiet and letting the filings speak for themselves. Meanwhile, Blake's side is creating noise that only seems to backfire. The truth is that everything she is doing in public ends up highlighting the weaknesses in her claims. Instead of strengthening her position, it weakens it. And right now, it looks like she is the one struggling, not him. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.